I don't see anybody else rolling in. Good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock on Thursday, May 11th, 2023, which is the appointed time and place for the Renaissance Zone Authority's monthly meeting. I'll declare a quorum and call the meeting to order. The first item of business would be to consider the minutes of the April 13 meeting. Any questions? There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Moved, seconded by Joe. Is there any corrections, comments, questions, discussion on the minutes, on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye, please. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. The regular agenda is pretty light today. We have a request for Renaissance Zone, Downtown Design Review approval from the Bismarck Veterans Memorial Public Library for a sign. Daniel.
Good evening, Chair. Renaissance Zone Authority. Got the wrong commissioner for a moment. So the Bismarck Veterans Memorial Public Library is requesting approval of a design review for a freestanding sign on the south side of the library property at 515 North 5th Street. You may recall this board used to approve all signs in the downtown. A few years ago, you basically passed off that authority to the staff as long as it really clearly met ordinance criteria. From time to time, we encounter proposals that don't really fit exactly within the ordinance as it's written, or there may be some conflict between what our design guidelines are saying and what the ordinance is saying. And so we bring those to you for your review. So in this case, the sign does not fit within the monument sign category or public art. And it does technically fall within a pole sign. However, pole signs are required to be elevated up in the air at least 8 feet with clearance. And so that it really was not the desire of either the applicant or frankly staff to see this elevated up in the air. So we are bringing this to you as a request to waive that portion of the ordinance. The criteria that we use for these waivers is that it must be necessary to align with the surrounding context, preserve historic integrity, allow unique and creative expression, or any other objective of the downtown design guidelines. The library, you approved some facade improvements to the library a couple of years ago that includes this color scheme with the logo from the library pretty much all around the 4 sides of the building. So this clearly does align with that context. And you could argue that it allows some creative expression in the form of this sculpture. We cannot classify it as public art because it is a logo, and so that's the reason why we wouldn't present it as that category. I do have one update to bring to your attention. Since the staff report was released, there is a slight alteration, and I will... Okay, hopefully you can see this on the camera. Oh, there we go. I think it's loading here. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Well, I suppose I can talk through it and then just pass this around so you can see what they're proposing. But basically, let's pass it around. Okay. Yeah. Well, so what the authority is seeing, and maybe we can show at some point. Okay, well, what you're seeing they basically would like to move the sign slightly over. Instead of centering it in that little recessed area, they'd like to angle it and put it in the corner. The reason for this is that there is an underground tank in this area that wasn't known before, and if these things require quite a foundation to support, and so the tank is really not that far under the ground, and so they needed to move out of the way from the tank. So that's really what's behind the change. I don't believe it changes staff's assessment or recommendation of this either. It's pretty similar in location. So that being said, Scott Bina from Man Signs is here and can answer technical questions if you have any questions for me.
Authority members have any questions of Daniel or of Joe?
I've got a bit of a series of questions. I emailed Daniel earlier, so thanks for responding back from some of them. I'm still going to walk through all of them. Just I wasn't sure if that goes into the public record or not. But so it's definitely a pole sign, you said. even though it doesn't meet the requirements, like, looking through the ordinances, you're gonna categorize this as a pole sign.
Correct, yeah, there's, the way the ordinance is written, it basically says anything that doesn't fit within monument sign gets categorized as a pole sign. So,
Okay.
yes.
So the staff report mentions, says several wall signs throughout the property, and you confirmed earlier that, it's still gonna meet per your calculations. Because we need this 8 foot, you didn't throw in the staff report, but it should meet the requirements, for square footage.
Yes, that's right, and that's something, we do run those numbers for all sign permits downtown, but basically, we measure the building frontage, and they're allowed 70 square feet of signage on the south facade of that building. This is about 60 square feet, and there is a tiny little wall sign that's about 2 square feet, already on the building, so they're within the allowable limit.
The design that's here, is it just the logo of the, I mean, it looks like it's different than the other logos that are on the building.
Yeah, I suppose, maybe if someone from the library could verify that, but I believe it's their standard logo.
Okay? Looks like we got someone coming up behind you.
Yep, okay.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Christine Cuiava, Library Director.
Welcome.
The main structure of the sculpture is the logo graphic, but then the little bits that kind of go up the side, that's an addition, meant to look like part of the graphic coming out, and it also looks like books. So
Yeah.
we thought that looked kind of cool.
And when you just, typically when you display the logo, does it also have your library next to it? It says the logo and library everywhere.
No, there are some instances where we
Excellent.
only use the graphic.
Okay. So then the question for staff was when, like, at some point in time, a artwork can have a logo, but it's not artwork. It is a logo, it is artwork, but it includes more than just their logo, right? So at some point, it switches from being a logo to artwork, which includes a logo.
I'm Commissioner's thinking, yeah, I mean, I suppose so.
Right.
You get into some
Right.
murky waters and that, but yeah, I mean, I think that it could have been presented as a public art. We just thought it may have been simpler to do it as a pole sign.
That makes sense, okay. The staff report talks a little bit about how it doesn't meet the requirement, and the only requirement it doesn't meet for the pole sign is the 8 foot thing.
That's right.
Does it meet any of the requirements for artwork? Or does it not meet any of the requirements for artwork?
So it would meet all of the requirements for artwork, with the exception of if it's a commercial logo. That's the only thing, but otherwise it would meet all of those.
And then, I think the other one that I might be aware of an artwork is that it faces a street, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Would you rather we approve it as artwork than a sign? Is that what
Well,
you're
that's
getting
what, like,
at?
at some point in time, it becomes one or the other, right?
Does it matter, I guess?
Right. Artwork certainly has a bit more discrepancy and leniency, but it's still a pole sign, whether it's artwork or not, right?
It's a short pole sign,
It's a,
Very short pole sign.
stubby pole sign. It's not 8 feet off the ground. What further discussion or questions of staff or?
Well, I'm kind of, question is, now with the, moving it more now into the corner, correct? Is what I'm kind of seeing. Are we worried about people kind of like camping out there for the night and transient and some of that issue too? And people climbing on it and thinking it's a jungle gym and being a safety issue? That's my other concern. Just the location and,
Christine? Yeah, I would ask, come back up and see if they're concerned about that or,
We are not concerned about that. I feel like that's happening all around downtown and at the library already, so this would not be anything new. We also have cameras. We have one on the southwest corner of the building that goes down that sidewalk, so we would have footage if anything were to happen.
other questions? Oh, yeah, if you'd sign in, please,
Done.
for the record. What are your wishes?
the only other comment that I make.
Yeah, go ahead,
Chair,
Joe.
Is the whole reason for the 8 foot is safety, right?
a 30-member FINC. That's right. I mean, it's really there so people don't hit their heads on it as they're walking by, and it's also there to allow some visibility for viewing traffic coming on a
Motor
on a
vehicles, if
different
it's on
roadway.
the corner.
Which
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense for the placement, like, there's no one
Right.
looking to
Right.
look through a building, obviously.
Yes.
With the newer placement, I'm less concerned about someone running into the side of an aluminum sharp object. What kind of thickness are we looking at on this? Any idea?
Mr. Bina?
Scott Bina with Man Signs. So the sign's going to be constructed, it'll look like it's in one piece. The main logo part will be about 18 inches thick. Then the books will be coming out the back. Those are not going to be as thick. They might be like 2 inches thick. So overall, you're talking like maybe 20 inches total.
Okay, thank you. Other questions of Mr. Bina while he's up? Anybody? What are your wishes? We would, motion would be to approve, staff recommends approval, so action would be to approve if you want to do that.
Move to approve is presented.
So a second?
I'll make that second.
Motion and a second to approve as presented. Is there further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the roll, please.
Authority member Greg Zenker,
Yes.
Joe Fink,
No.
Kirsten Dvorak,
No.
Dustin Gavrilo,
No.
Chair Christensen.
Yes, motion fails for lack of a majority vote. So what are your instructions or guidance back to the applicant and to staff? What would you like to see? Those of you who voted nay.
Chair, I don't see a solution for this one, not as presented. I mean, maybe put it on the wall. I don't know what else. Either that, just appeal it up to the city commission so they can say that the ordinance shouldn't have to matter.
Kirsten, what are your thoughts?
I would agree. I think either put it on the wall or, like you said, look at the ordinance. But yeah, I'm not a fan.
So, Dustin, you want to weigh in or not?
I mean, I'm kind of bouncing off of them and then taking into account one thing that doesn't have anything to do with downtown design review.
So if they came back with the same proposal but called it artwork, public art, would that change your opinions? Okay. I'm just trying to help them out here.
Chair, commission, so if they mounted it to the wall, but it's 20 inches thick, you said, Scott?
We'd have to, it is now.
20 inches deep.
Deep, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how do you're not gonna be able to mount a 20-inch
Right.
pattern off of that wall unless they made it. It's not made yet? So you wanna make it single dimensional and then mount it to the wall?
I wish I can't, I'm sorry. Like I said, the ordinance is there for a reason. And as appointees to these positions, I don't think we should override ordinance. That's my personal view, and it's not been the opinion of the entire board all of the time either, but.
Would the applicant have any questions or seek any guidance from the authority at this point? Is it as clear as mud, is what we're doing?
I would go back to our funding source, which is the Bismarck Library Foundation, who's paying for this 100%, and would like us to have a structure of some kind outside that's artistic. I could check with them to see what their thoughts are on mounting it on the wall. We kind of wanted something that was freestanding so that if people were walking by, we have a lot of traffic from Sanford and other areas, that maybe people would, go by it, take photos, things like that. But
Facebook?
so as far as opportunities to have the structure as it currently is there, it would need to go to the commission. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Or
we're not the
how would
final
that
authority
work?
on any of this anyway.
We
Staff
are
can-
unless you're denied, then you can appeal to the city commission, our decision.
Oh, I see.
If you want
Okay,
to do that, that would be one
okay,
avenue for you.
okay. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thanks. You know, and David, I didn't mean to leave you out of the discussion. Our technical advisor is sitting over there. Do you have any thoughts or input on this topic?
I'll just try to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I've been an author of, design guidelines in the past. You don't always imagine every nuance of what is going on. There's the reason a board like this exists is to make reasonable sort of adaptations, I think, to that, based on kind of intent. I mean, I don't see anything outside of not specifically falling within the guidelines of the ordinance. I don't see any problem with the actual design. So, yes, I guess it's up to you guys if you want to interpret that ordinance.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions of David? Okay. Our other technical advisor is out of town today, I think, so Eric was in Minot. All right, that motion fails, so we will move on to other business. Item 3, discussion about Renaissance Zone Program renewal. Daniel.
Good afternoon again. I'll just give you a brief update on the status of this process. As you know, I discussed this at length at the last Renaissance Zone Authority meeting. We did bring your motion to the City Commission, and they acted upon that last month in April and basically gave us a green light to continue pursuing this renewal of the program. So you know that does go through the other taxing entities as well. At the last meeting, you discussed really trying to gather the commissions together for informational purposes before, and we've been working on that. I don't have any meeting to announce yet today, although I do know that the Chamber EDC intends to hold a meeting in June at some point to convene the different public bodies in the region, or Bismarck, Burley, parks, schools, to discuss the Renaissance Zone program in the wake of this new legislation from the state. And so, like I said, I think that'll happen in June. And so after that, that would be the time to go to the boards formally to ask for their motion. And so right now we're just sort of waiting on that. And what I'll do is I can send an invite by email once we know the date for that, and we'll put it on online calendars. So it'll be a publicly noticed meeting for that. So to be continued. I can tell you that the two House bills, well, the House bill and the Senate bill have both been signed now by the governor. So House Bill 1266 and Senate Bill 2391 are signed and will be in effect on August 1st. So any other updates? If you have any questions, I can try to answer them, or this is a time if you have any direction for me as we continue this process.
Questions of Daniel? Anybody? I have one, Daniel. At the commission meeting a couple weeks ago when it was approved 4-1, one of the commissioners who voted against approval expressed a concern that maybe the county should be allowed to vote first or be moved up the list. Has there been any further feedback or pushback, or are you hearing anything from anybody that you can share with us on that point?
Sure. So I've had some discussions with the commissioner who brought that up, and he has reiterated publicly that he doesn't oppose the Renaissance Zone program per se. And I think the main purpose of that was just as a gesture to the county to basically let them have that decision first. However, the point of view, and I think this was raised at the meeting as well, is that procedurally it's really the City Commission making the request to the State Department of Commerce, and then the support being given by the other entities. So it is appropriate for the City Commission to start that process.
Sure. And now that a meeting is being organized, we'll have everybody at the table, hopefully. Okay. Anybody else for Daniel? Well, we got him. You want to move right into report from city staff, or is there anything to report?
Not so much, just really what I mentioned right there. I can say that there are, or at least there's at least one developer who is interested in the program and watching closely to see if it will be able to be reinstated or not. And as I've mentioned before, August 1st is the soonest it could be reinstated, but that's not a deadline for us.
Sure.
But no, that's really all I have. I mentioned last month that we'd closed the quality title project, but no other changes since then.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to give Kate's report, or? should we
Oh,
invite her?
nope, she's fully capable of that, so.
Kate, come on up. If you have anything, we'll torture you a little bit, but. Commissioner
I know
Zenker's
Commissioner
in a hurry.
Zenker's got to go.
He's in a
So,
hurry, so take your time.
okay, all right, okay, yeah, then we'd be flying. Just one quick thing, we mentioned it at Renaissance Zone or at Parking Authority this morning. The Budget Insight has closed. It's under new ownership. It's a developer that's doing 2 other projects downtown now. Been a pretty problematic property for us downtown for some time, and it's going to take a heavy lift to get that suitable for human living habitation. I'll just say it that way. But very excited for that. That has been needed to be a project for many moons. And so, yeah, they've been in town a few times, and they're obviously doing other projects in town, and we meet with them at least once a month and just, work
So
through
at this
something.
point, they're cleaning up the site, doing demolition, none of which is required, or does not require Renaissance Zone Authority approval to
Yep.
qualify, so.
Taking a lot of stuff to the dump. Their, environmental folks are going through it as well. There's bug issues,
Oh, wonderful.
there's a lot of stuff in there. We'll just put it that way.
It's
So-
safe to assume that, assuming everything moves forward with the other political subs, that they'll be back before us for.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a heavy lift on that site, just
sure.
the condition that it was in
Yeah.
when it was left. So Commissioner Zenker, you've missed your opportunity to stay there. It is closed now. So. Sorry.
As far as you know.
Otherwise, we'll be working with Daniel and everyone as we can work through the process of reinstatement. So.
Are there anything else downtown?
Nope, Commissioner Zenker's got to go. He's got
All right.
to get his skates on.
All right, anybody have anything else for the good of the order? Dustin, you said you wanted to expound on a few things, or no? It's a short agenda today, so if there's no objection, I will declare the meeting adjourned. We stand adjourned until June 8th. Thanks, everybody.